Greetings, everyone. I'm your host, Sinister Pixel, with X4 and Sinister Pixel.
You
I'm not giving you a warning.
Good job.
But today we have a very special episode of Push to Talk because we have a very special guest with us. Oh God, I've got the fucking sound on. And today our guest is Pete Gold.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi.
And for this, 30-minute special, we're just going to go through a couple of questions for Pete Gold.
I think couple's an understatement.
We did have to rummage through a lot.
Yeah. So we've taken a few questions from the Payday community for you. So we're going to open up with a few of our questions, and I'm going to start off with in the Hoxton Breakout trailer. Obviously, you voice Hoxton, but he's portrayed by Josh Len, and I want to know, what was it like dubbing the voice and seeing the results? And are there any errors that you noticed that no one else notices?
I don't know. It was to the first bit of the question. It was the most fun I think I've ever had. It was the closest I've ever been to being in a movie. It was great. It's sort of a lifelong voiceover ambition, really, and it was like being in Hollywood. It was great, and but quite an unusual challenge. I haven't really done a great deal of post syncing like that. What do they call it? Do they call it AVR? I can't remember what the technical term is, but so it was an unusual set of skills for me, but I took to it, and what they do is they do it a line at a time, so they play you a line of dialogue, and then you parrot it back. In fact, I think what they did was they played me the line of dialogue, and then I parroted it back 3 times, and then they would sort of shift it around on the timeline and see if there was something there that fitted. But they were quite tight for time. They didn't have. I think we had to do the whole thing in an hour and a half, 2 hours. They're on a tight time scale, I think, with that. And I think they were happy with the result in the end, and so was I. I really enjoyed it, and it was really weird seeing my voice come out of someone else's mouth.
That's awesome.
It's hard for me to tell. Because I'm sure you guys have seen it. Does it look real, or because for me, I look at it and go, "Well, this is a man speaking with my voice, and I was at the session and I dubbed it on. I know it's all fake."
It is quite convincing. Honestly,
I will be
budget,
honest.
looks really good.
When they first revealed the trailer, because I didn't actually know what you looked like at the time, I actually thought, had they used you for the actual actual video? Because there's a couple of times where you will notice it, but you don't notice it properly until you've watched it a couple of times.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because the human brain is quite hard to fool on that score. I mean, if you've ever had digital TV where it's got a frame out of sync with the sound, you can see it straight away.
Yeah.
You know what, actually, I remember when I first watched it on YouTube, it was a recording from the live stream, and it was about a frame out of sync, and I noticed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no, it was terrific fun, and I'd jump at the chance to do that again.
I loved that trailer. It was awesome.
Right.
So, next question.
Yeah, from you.
All right. We're just a little bit off topic. All right, Pete, you're stranded on an island, okay? Your boat sank. It's you. Your only companion on this island is a mermaid. You get to pick top half or bottom half fish. Go.
Oh, the bottom half has to be a fish.
That's what I would say. What would you guys pick?
I think I'm with Pete on this one.
Yeah.
Sorry, who would pick top half fish?
Some people go top half fish just for the sexual aspect, but you gotta think of it in a survival way. You know, you're gonna be on this island. She can hunt. She can get food for you.
Yeah. I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking of conversation.
Don't want women for the conversation, Pete.
Whoa!
Maybe a little bit of fondling boobs, but mostly conversation.
All right.
Some people go straight to the bottom.
Delete that question. Terrible question.
That was from Julian. That was from him.
Okay.
This question's from me. This has been one that's bugged me since Payday 2 first came out, because in the beta, it had your lines as well as Derek Ray's. Now, I'm curious to find out, was it your choice at the start for you to return, or were you not available at the time, so they had to improvise with the girls?
It was a weird one. They I think they booked most of the voice talent for the sequel that they'd used for Payday 1, but not me. I don't know if I was the only one that got left behind, but they just didn't book me. And my understanding, I say all of this with the caveat that I don't actually know what goes on behind the scenes. I just answer the phone and turn up when I'm supposed to and say the words that are put in front of me. But I think what happened was the company that made Payday 1 got kind of picked up by a big American distributor. And my guess is that the big American distributor said, okay, that's great, but we don't like the British guy being the bad guy. We want an American voice on that character. And so the next thing I knew was, there was the web series, wasn't there? And Hoxton was being voiced by an American actor. And it was only when there was this sort of brouhaha on the internet and everyone said, hang on, what about the British guy? That Simon Vickland was approached by, I think some people got a forum together and a petition and they petitioned Overkill to put the British voice back on it. Yeah. So it was nothing to do with me being unavailable. I just wasn't asked.
Okay.
But I don't take offence at that either way. It's just the way this business works is just, you're booked or you're not booked, and there's nothing personal about it. And there's always some kind of political machinations behind the scenes that you're not aware of. So at which I can only guess.
All right. Moving on to the questions which were submitted by the fans. First one is from Miss Eisenhertz. She's one of our moderators on Twitch. How did you react initially to people wanting you to come back to Payday 2 as Hoxton?
I was all for it. I was delighted that anyone showed the slightest bit of interest in it, to be perfectly honest. It was kind of weird because I think the first I heard about it was I think somebody had suggested to Overkill, why don't you bring Pete Gold back? We would pay for it if it was downloadable content or something. And then there was a debate about, well, hang on, it's not like there's zero costs involved. It's going to take a lot of, we've got to pay the voiceover, we've got to hire the studio, we've got to edit the stuff, we've got to build the splice it all in. It takes a lot of man hours. It's a lot of expenditure. We need to guarantee a certain number of people are going to download the DLC to make the whole thing worthwhile. And off the back of that comment, I think came this the petition that thousands of people signed, bless their hearts, and eventually Overkill went, well, all right, if you're serious, we'll bring him back. And so it's great.
It is nice to have you back, though, for the second game.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm delighted. As I say, this is the most fun I've ever had in a voiceover studio, and I'm every time I get booked, it's just a bonus and a delight to come back. I love it.
Just a little sub-question before we go on the next one, so I just thought of it now. But how do you feel about, for the person who replaced you, do you enjoy getting to call him like a wanker and everything for part of the game?
It's fantastic. Name me any other voiceover job where you could go into the studio and shout, get on the floor, motherfucker, at the top of your voice and be paid for it. No, it's brilliant. I mean, I'm a dad, so I don't go a bundle on swear. In my youth, I would swear till I was blue in the face, but now I sort of have to be a responsible adult. It's like slightly uncomfortable about some of the swearing, if I'm honest, but it's all part of the character and part of the game, and what's not to love? I love it.
All right, so next up is another community question by
Chuburos, whatever.
Chuburos?
I don't know.
So he wants to know, other than voice acting for the Payday games, do you partake in gaming in your spare time? Or is this whole collaboration purely for just voice acting and no other interest in the game, really?
No, but you know what? I'm ashamed almost to admit that I am just not a gamer at all. I sort of, it kind of passed me by. I think I'm 42 now, and it's not like that's too old. But when I was in my 20s, there was PS1, and that was about all there was. And I think we used to sit, and my wife and I and friends would come around, and we'd sit and play Abe's Odyssey on the PlayStation.
Oh wow!
That is a masterpiece.
That got remastered for Steam. I just bought that the other day.
Yeah, they did. They've just come back from like years and made a new game.
I love Oddworld.
So that was about all we ever played, and we played that for years and years. And then, and because I was busy doing sketch comedy and stand-up comedy, I just didn't really have much time for gaming. And the PS1 gathered dust on the shelf, and that's been it for me, really. And we've got an Xbox now, which my little boy enjoys playing games on and telling it what to do. Xbox, play movies. So that's great, but I'm not a gamer at all, really. I mostly use Xbox to watch Penguins of Madagascar with my little boy on Amazon Prime. So no, but I sort of wish I was, because I frequently get people saying, "Hey man, let's hook up and you can be Hoxton," and you know that would be nice, but it's not part of my life at all, I'm afraid.
When your child's a little older, would you show him Payday and show what you've done?
He'd have to be a lot older.
Yeah.
He'd have to be a lot older, and I don't see. I worry about this because I've done some comedy songs and they're full of swearing as well. And I sort of think at some point he's going to discover what I got up to in my 20s, and I don't know if he'll be proud or embarrassed. But the day
Dad, I just found this awesome game called Payday 2. You gotta try it.
There's a guy in it who sounds just like you.
That would be weird. Let's face it, though. I mean, gaming technology will have moved on so far in the next. Well, it'd have to be about 12 years. I doubt anyone will be playing Payday in 12 years' time unless it's like a fully immersive 3D, stick a needle in the back of your neck kind of experience.
A lot of DLCs.
Okay.
The next question is from Jolly Roger, and he asks, as a fellow Englishman, I'd like to ask, what's your favourite flavour of Walker's crisps?
I think now. Well, look, my favourite flavour of crisps is Marmite, and I think is that a Walker's collaboration?
Ooh.
I'm googling it now. Yeah, it is. It totally is. Walker's Marmite crisps.
I don't know if we can get along.
Oh,
yeah.
Can't stand Marmite.
Love it, hate it. Well, we shall have to agree to disagree. All right then. Well, shall I say cheese and onion then, and then we can get along?
Yeah. Okay. We're good with that. Someone in the Twitch chat shouted, "Yes, Pete." I thought that no. Moving right along. Have you? This is from Alexandro F. Have you ever met any of the other voice actors of the Payday crew, and are you friends with any of them in real life?
I've met Simon Kerr, and I think hang on, I think Howard Thompson was involved in it as well, wasn't he? This is going back into ancient history now. It's like 5 years ago, wasn't it? Yes. So yeah, they were both of those guys are on the same agency as me, and we never voiced anything all together in the studio, but I think our sessions were back to back, so we sort of passed each other in the lobby kind of thing, and would kind of go, "Oh, I'm a bit hoarse after all that shouting," that sort of thing. So yeah, and there's our agency has sort of Christmas mixers and stuff, so we bump into each other, that kind of thing. And Simon Kerr, I think I've seen within the last 12 months. I don't think any of us would say we're best buddies or anything, but we're certainly acquaintances, and we'll have raised a pint of Guinness with each other occasionally, and that's really nice. But I think a lot of the voice talent is from overseas anyway, isn't it? A lot of it's American and in fact, Simon Vickland, I think, voices one of the characters as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he voices Bane.
So no, so the Simon Kerr, Simon Vickland, and Howard Thompson are the only three people. Actually, yes, I think they're the only three people I've met.
Next question.
Yep.
This is coming from a Reddit user, Product Fred. It's a two-part question, or just kind of two questions. First one is, if you could have any celebrity's voice or accent, who would you choose and why? And the next one is, if your last name could be any element from the periodic table, which would you make it?
Oh, I like that. If I could have any celebrity's voice or accent, who would it be and why? Well, maybe the answer is Richard Burton. Because we happened to be listening to the War of the Worlds album in the car on holiday a few weeks ago, and what a narrator that guy was. I don't know. I would like to have a deep butch voice, and I would settle for Richard Burton, who had a very slight Welsh twang, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool.
A bit weird to see Richard Burton say "Get Down on the Ground," though.
You'd do it though if he told you to.
Yeah.
Get down on the ground. You would totally do that. Periodic table. That's a good.
Are you googling the periodic table right
I'm
now?
now googling the periodic table. I'm hoping it will come up with the song, but it hasn't. I have no idea. I'm quite happy with gold, really.
Really? You don't want to be called Pete Einsteinium?
Really, well, Einsteinium.
I'm pretty sure there is an element called Einsteinium.
There really should be.
I think there is.
We're going to struggle to do better than that, aren't we? Really? I mean, you wouldn't want to be Pete Beryllium, would you, or Pete Cobalt, Pete Copper, Pete Zinc? I'm happy with gold, honestly.
I like lithium. I think lithium would be a badass last name.
Gold is my actual surname, by the way. A lot of people don't believe it is because it's so poncy.
But you're British. We're all British here. Well, Forts isn't, but
I'm not.
Well, actually, I think gold is probably a lot more common in the States, isn't it? I think there are more golds over there than there are over here. But I think originally it was a Ukrainian Jewish name, and my great-grandfather changed it from Goldstein when he came over to sort of fit in a bit more. And I don't probably feel stuck out.
Oh God! Someone in the Twitch chat suggested one. Ununhexium. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that.
It's easy for you to say. I've got unununtrium and ununseptium. God, who thought all of these up? No, I'm still sticking with gold, thanks.
Okay.
Alright, the next question is from Roland Mad Rider, and he says, does Pete Gold realise his website still has a 90s feel to it? And will he ever get round to updating it?
I am going to update it. I'm horrified that anyone's actually visited it. It was built in the 90s, and I think at the time it was designed to have a retro 70s feel to it. It brought itself up to date. But no, it still runs on Flash, for God's sake. So no,
God.
I'm planning to update it this year. In fact, during this conversation, a reminder has pinged up on my laptop to say, work on new website. So it will happen.
Okay. Next question is from Leet Dude. What do you think about the concept of Payday overall, and if you had the power to add anything to the game, what would you add to it?
Oh God, that's such a good question. I can't do it justice. What do I think about the Payday game as a whole? Having never played it, that's the embarrassing thing. I'm sort of poorly placed to comment on it. But I mean, I've seen sort of game footage on YouTube, and I've had everything sort of carefully explained to me in the studio, so I'm sort of aware of the sort of context and the premise of the game. I suppose it sounds like a lot of fun. I suppose I was slightly worried that it's extremely violent. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not overly keen on glamorizing or promoting violence, but I generally think that the gaming community is quite a grown-up, sensible bunch of people.
There's a lot worse.
Yeah, keep thinking that.
Well, certainly the ones I've come into contact with have been perfectly nice and not the sort to sort of grab a mask and hold up the local post office. So,
there has been someone who did that at McDonald's with a Dallas mask. That happened.
See, I'm slightly nervous that might happen. Do you know what I mean? Some nutter somewhere's going to grab that kind of mask, and then the game is going to come into disrepute. I hope that doesn't happen, because
I've actually got an old Hoxton mask sitting behind me right now.
Well, as long as don't do anything I wouldn't do.
I played Payday 2. I know exactly what you'd do.
I think it's a fantastic game. As I say, I mean, it's brilliant fun. I think it's hugely creative and imaginative and rich. And as I say, I'm not a gamer, but from what I understand of it, the depth with which they've explored the characters and personalized everything, and every scenario is tailored to a dozen possible permutations, and so you can play the game over and over and over again without really repeating the same experience. Is the way they seem to have designed it, which seems to be a huge improvement on a lot of other sort of shoot 'em up games, and I think that's a huge part of its popularity. And I'm delighted to be associated with it. What would I add to it? I don't know, because it seems to have all these features. Somebody had to explain to me what a HUD was the last time I did one of these interviews. So that gives you some idea of my level of ignorance here. But I don't know what I would add to it. I'd have to get back to you on that.
All right,
Hi.
next question. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce this. ABBX.
Abax.
Abax. S. Is Hoxton your favorite character, or do you like any character more besides the one the voice? It's your voice.
Well, as I say, it's really the only one that I'm that familiar with. What I like about Hoxton is the fact that he's British and sarcastic. I enjoy the sarcasm. There's a bit of banter, isn't there? And it kind of
Yes.
and as a voice artist, that's tremendous to be able to go in and improvise. And Simon Vickland will just say to me, "All right, well, you stick some Sheffield swear words in there, and okay, we need 12 insults. Off you go." So that it's really nice to just be able to make a bit of stuff up. So I can't say that any other character is my favourite. Hoxton is definitely my favourite character.
Nice.
Right, the next question. Sorry, I can't read at the moment. It's from Chuck Hale, and he asks, "How did you get into the voice acting business? Have you done any other work you're willing to share?"
It was a little scandalous.
No, well, I do voiceover work every day, and a lot of it is for independent local radio stations all over the UK. And so, probably you would walk into your local newsagents and hear me selling you a second-hand car on the FM or something, and not even realise it was me. So, do you know what? I've got a documentary coming out soon, but I don't think it's quite ready for transmission yet, and I'm probably not supposed to talk about it. But so that's my next exciting thing. And as soon as that's out, you can rest assured I'll be tweeting the hell out of it. But otherwise, it's mostly sort of radio commercials and documentaries and corporate videos, TV promos. I think occasionally people email me and go, "Did I hear you on Virgin Media?" So I'm very, very, very fortunate because I've got a sort of reasonable number of regular voiceover jobs, sort of large and small, that sort of keep the wolf from the door, really. So I've been really, really lucky with that. And as far as getting into voice acting is concerned, that was a big stroke of luck as well, really. My brother is a voiceover artist and has been. He was one of the first continuity announcers on Channel 4 when it launched here in the 80s. He's a little older, he's 8 years older than me, and so he'd been doing it already for about, I think, 15, 16 years when he decided to set up an agency. And I was graduating from university with not a clue as to what I was going to do. Now, I wanted to go to drama school, didn't have the requisite £10,000 to put myself through drama school, and he said, "Do you want to come and run a voiceover agency?" And I went, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And 19 years later, it'd be 19 years this August. I'm not running it anymore, so I've got some very nice girls in the office do that. Thank you very much. It's a really hard job, and I wouldn't want to do it. But I sort of edit the show reels for them and keep the website up to date. And I'm also one of the voices on their books. So I sort of fell into it from it's a really unusual route of being an agent. Most voice actors are stage and screen actors as well, or broadcasters. And I sort of fell into it from being an agent, which that's quite unheard of, really, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, next question. They haven't given us a name, but do you feel like your voice work as Hoxton has increased the popularity of your music career?
I think it probably has. I
certainly didn't know about it until...
Yeah. Elaborate this music career.
Yeah, I do. Well, I can't really say I had a music career, to be perfectly honest. I've got some... I used to do stand-up comedy songs on the London circuit for probably about 10 years, I think I did that. And, loved doing it, but it was never going to be an overnight sensation. And the great thing about the internet is you can just stick all your stuff on there, and occasionally people will stumble across it. And occasionally I tweet something about it and it gets a few favourites. And but no, that's sort of my passion, really. That's kind of my hobby. It's not really an income stream. I doubt it would keep me in pints of milk, to be perfectly honest.
Do you not monetize your videos at all on YouTube?
No, I don't.
Ooh, you're missing out.
Do you know what? I don't even really know how to begin doing that. I think don't you have to get a certain number of hits before YouTube will even let you put advertising on the particular?
No, not anymore.
Yeah. Right, I might have to talk to you about that then.
I would love to hear some of these tracks. Link us sometime.
To the internet, I sincerely apologize for the pre-roll ads before every video from now on.
Yeah, well, I'm all for doing that, and I think this was a revelation to me as well. I stumbled upon a fact that YouTube has auto-generated a bunch of videos for my songs, and I think it must have gotten from Spotify or somewhere. And it's gone, oh, okay, there is a person, the bots on YouTube have gone, okay, there's a person out there called Pete Golden. He's got an album called Hobbledy High. I will generate a bunch of, basically, the pictures are just slideshows, and the audio is taken from the album. And it's automatically generated. So I think a lot of the YouTube videos on there are stuff that was nothing to do with me. I didn't put them up there. But maybe it's time to monetize them. But I think people download them from iTunes and stuff, and they're available on Spotify. And I think I get 1p every time they're played on Spotify. So, so the pennies come trickling in. But as I say, it's a passion, it's a hobby really, rather than a career.
I'll check them out. So next question is from Beckup. What is your favorite insult?
And can you say it in the Hoxton voice, please?
My favorite insult. Well, the only one I can remember, actually, is you son of a two-bit prostitute. which is not a very English expression, is it? I think the Americans might say, you son of a two-bit whore, or something like that, and then you sort of translated it into English, and I'm not sure it's totally authentic, but I quite like it.
Oh, God, that's amazing.
I'm sure there are better ones. I expect Hoxton has said many more amusing things than that, but that's the only one I can remember right now.
The next question's from, as it says here, Ben Pye, please notice me, Evil Bob. What was your first voice acting job you got?
Do you know, I can't quite remember what it was for, because it was a long time ago. I think it was probably about 1999. Oh, hang on, okay, there was the very first one I got was probably an independent local radio commercial for a nightclub in Essex, for Essex FM. And I travelled an hour to a friend's studio and voiced it. And the thing is, right, on the independent local radio circuit, they're always looking for new voices, because you know what it's like. You listen to local radio here and it's the same voices voicing the same ads all the time. And in 1999, there was probably only about 2 or 3 dozen people in the country doing this. Now there's 300 or 400. So that when I turned up, they were like, "What? A new voiceover? Yeah, we'll give him a try. It doesn't matter if it's shit." And so they gave me a chance, and I went to the studio and I did it, and they were happy. And it was sneering about 2-for-1 drinks on a Thursday night, I think. And I still work for the company that gave me that job, or for the client that gave me that job. 19 years later, he's still putting work my way. John Reeves from Spark Audio, who won't be listening, but hello, John, anyway. Thank you.
Okay. Next question is from EddieBoy94. Edward, I should put you on notice. He's an infamous fan of ours. Makes every stream a delight. Why do people think you're gay?
Oh, there's a song. I have a song called "Why Do People Think I'm Gay?" That's probably what that question is.
Yeah, it's a reference to that. Yeah.
I think I wrote that song after I spent a lovely weekend. I was in a sketch trio. There's 3 lads, and we went away to a cottage that somebody lent us. They had like an annex to their house, basically, in deepest, darkest Norfolk. And we had to write our show. And they said, "Well, you're writing a show. Come and stay with us. Come on. There's wine in the fridge. There's a whole annex. You can sit and spend a week with us and write your show." And then she said, "Oh, why don't you come up to the big house for dinner one night?" So we did. And she said, "You know what? Next time you come, you're very welcome to bring your partners, your girlfriend, or your boyfriend," she said, looking at me. I'm not gay. There's nothing wrong with being gay, but I happen not to be gay. And then from then on, I began to notice that other people just sort of made an assumption. They thought, "Oh, I think he's gay. I bet he might be gay. And I don't know why. I don't know. As I say, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but I'm curious as to why people jump to that conclusion. And so that song was just exploring that, really.
Did the YouTube comments shed any light on it, or?
I can't. What were the YouTube comments?
It's been a while since I've listened to the song.
I think there were
Quite
probably,
a song. I'll give you that.
if I know anything about YouTube, there were probably mostly haters going, "Dude, you totally are gay, you suck," or something like that.
Homophobic.
I don't know.
All right.
Next question, coming from Zelda Freak, aka Connor. Now we all know the classic line, "Did you miss me, you wankers?" But I have a question for you, Pete. How much do you miss voice acting Hoxton and Payday?
How much do I miss it?
Well,
Yeah.
did you miss that?
One in the sort of hiatus between Payday 1 and being brought back for Payday 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I didn't miss voice acting because I was doing it the whole time. You know, I do it pretty much every day. I do voiceover work. So from that point of view, I wasn't missing the voice acting. But yeah, I was sort of disappointed not to have been asked back for Payday 2, certainly. But as I say, that's just the way it goes in this game. More often than not, if the first you hear of something is when the phone doesn't ring, if you see what I mean.
Mm.
The first you know about being dumped is when you hear some other guy on the telly doing the TV campaign that you had under your belt. So, so it was, you know, it's just, you have to be philosophical about it. So I didn't cry into my pillow, but it was nice to be brought back.
That's good.
And because we're out of time now, this is our final question. We managed to get through the list, which is nice. But our last question is from Dr. Crofty, and he just plainly simply asked, "How was your day been, Pete?"
It's been good, really. It's been interesting. No, it hasn't been interesting, actually. Okay, it's been mostly interesting, but what I'm about to say is not interesting. I've managed to export all of my contacts from my old account system into my new account system.
Technology.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was a fruitful morning, and then I've just had a lot of admin to do. It's been mostly sort of admin and catching up with emails, and then I picked up my son from school and played Hex Bugs, and then we did some piano practice, and then we watched Penguins of Madagascar. And then I took him to Beavers, and then we had dinner, and now here I am. So I bet you wish you'd never asked that question.
That was a pretty interesting day. And on that note, I think we're out of time. It's been a delight to have you on here, Pete.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you so much for taking
Nice to
time
do it.
out to come talk to us.
Not at
Hopefully
all.
we get to see you in next Payday projects. Really excited.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I think I'm in now. I hope I have my feet under the table, and I as I say, it's my favourite gig in the world, and I hope I'll be back on many more occasions.
If they don't call you, we will. How about that?
Very much.
I think the community will just go in an uproar if Overkill didn't ask again.
Well,
But-
as I say, it's been brilliant to have so much support, and you know, I'm constantly overwhelmed by the sort of support and niceness that happens to me on Twitter and the internet in general. So thank you to everyone.
I just want a quick answer for more things. I just remembered I completely forgot to add this in. I just want to know, how did Hoxton On Demand become a thing? I just remember hearing it from one day.
I think I showed you it, actually.
Yeah, do you know what? I can't really remember. I think somebody on Twitter just said, "Oh, pretty please will you do my outgoing voicemail," or something like that. And I went, "Yeah, sure." And I did that. And then a couple more people said, "Oh, I've got a thing you could say for me for my YouTube channel." And I went, "Yeah, okay, yeah, fine." And then eventually I thought, you know what? Why don't I just actually set... Because apart from anything else, my Twitter channel is quite often full of stuff that's nothing to do with Payday or Hoxton. It's me banging on about my voiceover career or the local amateur dramatic society, or... You know, and I actually thought, you know, maybe it would do me some good to sort of separate out Pete Gold and Hoxton a little bit on Twitter and have a channel just for people that want me to record little messages for them. And the coolest thing was the other day, somebody proposed to their girlfriend.
I saw you retweeted that. I have to watch that video.
Oh my
It's
god, that's
awesome.
amazing.
It's bonkers. And they're not the first person to do it, actually. It's the second time somebody's asked me to propose to their girlfriend for them, which is it's a big job. I feel this is an onerous task, but I'm extremely honoured that somebody asked me to do that. I think that's a really bizarre way to propose to someone.
Well, I think with that we can basically confirm the wedding heist Payday 2 DLC.
Oh, God, isn't it? Let's get on to Overkill and get them to write that one.
Yeah, just had hashtag wedding crashes.
Yes. Oh God.
I was thinking about, I still have on my Dropbox a copy of when you did me a text notification for my phone. I've just got to put it on my new one.
Oh yes, do please do. Yeah, no, I frequently get asked to just say you've got to text you wanker or something like that, and I kind of think.
I was thinking of asking you to do my stream follower notification sound at some point.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know when I'll tweet you with that one, but at some point.
Yeah, no, tweet me. All I ask is that you tweet me at Hoxton On Demand, because otherwise I'll miss it or overlook it. So just do a public tweet at Hoxton On Demand, and ideally make sure that it fits in a tweet or two and isn't pages and pages long. But no, that's fine.
Just and I'd also say the rule is don't use twit longer, because that's unlimited characters.
Yes, that's cheating. I have had people do that. I've had people say, "Oh, please, will you read Genesis from the Old Testament?" No!
Oh, damn. I think on that note, yeah, it's time to go. Again, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a blast.
Yeah, man, it's been a good time. Thanks a lot.
It's been great.
For everybody watching, thank you for tuning in, and if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for watching. We've been your hosts, and this has been Pete Gold, very special guest, and good night.
Maybe a Hoxton goodbye.
Cheers, bye.
Just click stop streaming.